Hey guys, it's Rachel here with Senza Tempo Cane Corso, and I'm just here with Cashmere, letting her do her thing. Figured that during this time, which is like the long period, that you guys might want to just watch and kind of see what's going on. So anyway, I am just kind of sitting here with her. Trying to figure out how to let's see. Okay, let's see here. See if that will work. Let's see here. Sorry, I have a tripod here I'm trying to use, but it's being quite difficult. Okay, see if we can't get a better shot. So, now that I've got this on, I can try to hassle with this other knob. But for some reason, I cannot get to work. I wonder if I can just force it down. No. Let's see here. Oh, that'll work. That should work perfectly. Quiet down, dogs. Okay, I hope that's a good enough view. This have this crazy little tripod that I'm really not used to using yet, but trying to get better at it. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. Do not do that. Shh. 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 Midnight has this horrible habit of barking anytime she hears someone upstairs, which is usually somebody just going to the bathroom. Hey, pretty girl. Hey, pretty girl. Let's see if we can move this. Get that back over there. Hey, mama. Good girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're a good girl. Good girl. Blondie. Blondie. Shh. Quiet down. Blondie. I said quiet down. Blondie. Almost tripped over the baby gate. Trying to keep all the dogs away from here. Yes, you're fine. You're fine. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're a good girl. Hey there. Hey there. You're a good girl. So I'm just trying to be as quiet as possible because I don't really want to mess with her. I just want to be here for her, but not really distract her. You know, I want to, if she wants to sleep, then I want her to be able to sleep. And so I'm going to go over there and get Tennessee and Blondie to settle down. You're a good girl. Shh. Quiet down over there, Seneca. So just to answer some questions, I started to notice that she was acting like she was going to go into labor, I guess around 10 o'clock p.m. here. And so she started nesting really heavily. She started panting a lot. I took her temperature. She was at 99.9. And I took it consecutively over the next, I guess, 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And it went all the way down to 99.7. And as you can see here, she's done quite a bit of nesting. And as you can tell, she's done some really heavy panting. She's had some loose stools, which is a sign of labor. And just, overall the inability to really get comfortable. She's been doing some, laying down and kind of pushing off the walls of the whelping box. And so all of these are signs that, labor is imminent. Yeah, see how she wants to get comfortable, but she can't. So she may need to go to the bathroom. This is the second time she's went to the door. So I'm going to take her to the bathroom real quick, and then I'll bring her back in. Give me 1 second. Good girl. Good girl. And there you go. And replace your water. There you go. Okay, so one of the things that she really likes is ice cream whenever she's in labor, so this is what I like to give her. I just give her a little bit of vanilla ice cream, not too much. I like to try to give it to her more whenever she's actually nursing. It's just a good form of energy and calcium. But I also like to give her a little bit when she's in this process because it can be very tiresome. So she's licking it, but now it looks like she's trying to. Looks like she might be trying to bury it. Yeah, so she's not quite. Yeah, she doesn't want any more. So that's all she wants. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. All right. So I'm gonna go take Seneca outside because she probably needs to go potty. Do you need to go potty, Seneca? Acting like you need to go potty. I'm coming. good girl, Midnight. Come on. Yeah, I see you. No, it's not playtime. Nope. Go on, Midnight. Go. 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 Alright, to bed with you. Don't want to hear it. Go lay down. Go lay down. Lay down. Shh. Now's not the time. I know, sweetheart. You're fine. You're fine. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Have you been nesting? Have you been nesting? It looks different. Shh. What did I say? No, Seneca. Go lay down. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. No. What did I say? I see you. Yes, I do. I see you. You're fine. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Cashmere, lay down. You're fine. Yes, you just need to rest. Cashmere, lay down. Won't you lay down? No, she's like, I'm not gonna lay down, woman. She's like, do not ask me to lay down right now. No. That's bad. All right. Ever since she got pregnant, man, they're just like crazy about any sounds. That was just Alex using the bathroom. Somebody just asked how many times have I bred her? This is her second breeding. Please do not judge a woman by her tatas. So someone asked, will I be able to tell when she's having contractions? Yes, we absolutely will be able to tell. She is not actually having contractions right now. She's in the very first part of the labor, which is where she is, her cervix is getting large enough to make room for the puppies. So, so she's not actually, doing a lot of pushing right now or anything. And if you've ever been through labor, like when I was pregnant with my daughter and I went into labor, I was at like 3 centimeters and it was the most unbelievable pain I've ever felt in my life. So, it's still very painful. Try to fix this tripod a bit. Cashmere, over here. Come on. Come lay down. Come lay down. Yeah. Lay down. You're a good girl. Seneca's over there going crazy in her kennel, as usual. Hey, why don't you lay down, huh? Why don't you lay down? Why don't you lay down? Did you sleep? I know you've been trying to sleep, but they won't go away. I know. Yeah. Get your boogers out of your face. Yeah. Yes, I see you. Somebody asked where all the other dogs are. Most of them are upstairs with Alex right now. Seneca is in her kennel, and Tennessee is in her kennel, and Blondie's in there with Tennessee. Shh! Hey, Seneca, chill out. And Midnight is sleeping with Savannah. Blondie's put up because she would not leave everyone alone. They're all so excited. They know that there's puppies coming, they just know. And so everyone is just like crazy. So I have to, as you can tell with Seneca over there, it's literally 2 in the morning and she's over there having a riot in her kennel. Oh my God, she is something else. I love her to death, but she is something else. Everybody else is pretty chill right now. Yeah, I was like trying to get Savannah to stay up with me, but there's no way. She's like out. She completely passed out, so there's nothing I can do about it. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. You're a good girl. So, um, yeah. So anyway, we watched, did any of you guys ever watch that movie, The Bear? It's like, I think it was like made in like 1988. I made Savannah watch that with me tonight, and she was not amused. I don't get why it is that these young kids don't appreciate old movies. mm. Anyway, I'm gonna go and make myself a coffee on my Nespresso machine. So I will be right back. I will leave you here with Cashmere. Hopefully she'll stay put. Seneca. Shh, quiet, woman. Seneca, you disrespectful little girl. Be quiet. Shh, go lay down right now. And quit your back talk. Go to bed. Just realized that you cannot see her. See if I can fix that. Let's see here. There we go. Does that work? Kind of. In fact, if I move my hard drive, I think that worked. Let's see here. Roll down. There we go. Let's see here. There we go. That works. Perfect. I wonder if I could actually do better. Yeah, I wonder if we did that instead. Alrighty then. Let's do this. Wonder if I did. Right. You're a good girl. So, yeah. There we go. All right. Perfect. Like that. Yeah. Okay. Go to bed. You should be asleep. Sammy, go to bed. Shh. Seneca, go to bed. Seneca. Shh. Woman. Seneca, quiet down. Okay. I just remembered something. Actually, what's up, sugar bear? Go lay down. Go lay down. Seneca, shh, quiet. Quiet down. Shh, what I said, Seneca. Settle down. Lay down. Now. Now lay down. Shh. Crazy lady. Whew. Well, I honestly don't think that, she's gonna do much right now. This is just the long part of the labor. This is the really long, uneventful part. Anyway, let me get on to Seneca real quick. She's being crazy again. She's having a hard time controlling herself. How's that? That's better. Perfect. Seneca. Go to bed now. You need to chill out. Now. Shh. Now. Quit being a bad dog. guess I'm gonna sit in there with her. That's what I usually do. Don't mind me. I look busted. Are you gonna relax now? Are you gonna relax now? Yeah. I don't know what her temperature is. She's like, don't you dare take my temperature. This is just some oil because I don't want to hurt her. Good girl. So she's at 99.7. Pretty good indicator that she's in labor. Yeah, I know. Mama knows. Mama knows. Mama knows. Oh, goodness, baby. Mama knows. Go lay down. Yes, you're fine. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Mama knows. So you can tell, if you've ever been in labor, you know that like it goes in waves. So when it gets worse, she has a harder time like socializing, which I mean, like I said, if you've ever been through that, you know, you have to focus on your breathing. So I'm gonna hop out, give her some space, because I feel like she could use some space. Sweet. You got to be able to know, read their body signs and all that, and kind of know where they're at. So See if I can't get you a better view there. Oop, that was a bit much. There we go. There we go. Perfect. I need to block someone, Nancy. Let's see, Nancy. Oh wow, she's one of those people that thinks she's better than everybody else. I see. Okay. Let's see here. How do you... There we go. Let's see here. Okay, I blocked her. I don't always block people for having a different opinion than me, but for people to sit there and like make mass judgments about me in regards to my breeding practices or anything like that, there's really no point in even trying to have a conversation with people like that. So I do block people like that. If people want to learn, like there's plenty of rescue people that have made comments on my channel where they kind of reserved their judgment and kind of observed me and then, you know, made judgment after the fact. And most of them have found that while they may have originally wanted to judge me, you know, as my grandma used to say, the proof is in the pudding. When you see how I raise my dogs and you see how I am with them, you know, it's indisputable. Most people don't do that. I mean, we're talking, there are people with champion show dogs and they don't even do that, you know, like I kind of go above and, you know, extra for my dogs. Like most people do not want to have, I mean, you do understand this whelping box is in my kitchen. My other one was in my closet. Like there's a certain amount of you know, just sacrifice that you have to make when you're living with a box full of hay in your house. But if you are like me and you care more about being able to keep your eyes on the puppies and make sure that they don't get hurt, then you're going to want to be there and listening for the puppies 24/7, making sure that they're not getting laid on and that they're getting the appropriate amount of food. So, you know, I just have zero tolerance for people who are super judgy like that. So, and yes, she is sleeping. That's great. I'm very glad. That's what you want them to do. They go through periods where they have a lot of progress going and taking place. So they will start to get a lot of activity in the cervix where they're expanding a lot, and then it kind of slows down some, and they get to really get some sleep in. And it's super important that they get every use of this sleepy time as possible. And I do think that me actually talking to you guys is actually helping her with that, because it makes her worry a little bit less. She can tell that there's not any kind of worry in my voice, so she's more at ease. And I don't know if you noticed, but whenever I went out with the puppies, she was looking for me. So a lot of people say that, you should leave them alone, but Cashmere does not want to be left alone. She wants to be with me. She wants to know that I'm there, that I'm helping, and it's very important to her. So, so anyway, so yeah, so you kind of see her kind of pushing off the back there. Yeah. You can tell that she knows that she's in labor, and every now and then she turns around and starts looking for a puppy, even though she hasn't had one yet. She, she can't quite put that two and two together. So, um, so anyway, so she does look, but anyway, but she loves having me as a midwife, and I love being here for it. I think it's really important that there's so many times when it matters. Like if you don't know your dog that well and they don't trust you enough to be around them in labor, I mean, I hate to say it, but you probably haven't been. Your dog either has bad lines or you really haven't done your part. And because you can do a lot with them. Like if your female gets in trouble or something, you need to be able to go in there and handle her or help her with the delivery. And if she's scared of you or if she doesn't trust you. There we go. Perfect. Sorry, you guys. I don't know what happened. Let's see here. Bam. There we go. And lift it up a little bit. Come on. There we go. Perfect. Whoop, almost dropped it. There I go, being funny. Okay. And let's see here. Okay. Maybe we can this is there we go. Perfect. There we go. All right, I hope it's not too crooked or anything. This thing is kind of hard to learn to use. Okay, I think that'll work. here. Okay. Okay. Video. Oh. Go lay down. I'm just moving my computer. Just moving my computer because I'm actually doing this with my phone, and then I'm sitting here on my computer, and so I couldn't see my phone screen where it told me that the chat had ended. Nancy, Becky, oh my God. Good Lord, Nancy, get a life, woman. Oh my God. Isn't it, I just have to say, it is always the weirdest thing how these people that don't like what I do, they are sweet, I swear to God, they are just crazy people. Like, most normal people, if they don't like something, they will just look at it and move on with their day. But crazy people sit there and they just get all into it. It's just ridiculous. Oh gosh, in my opinion. Oh gosh, your opinion really isn't that important, Nancy. You have a right to your opinion, but it doesn't dictate reality. Good Lord. All the Nancys in the world. Sorry for any Nancys that are not like that, but geez. Alright. Let's see what Nancy comes up with next, y'all. I've officially blocked her twice. So there's always the crazies, you know. I'm sure she's one of those very dedicated people that comes on and dislikes my videos every single time. It's the funniest thing, I swear. I'll never understand how that works. Somebody asked me about super chat. I have no idea what that is. I don't think it enabled me to do that, or maybe it would. I don't know, but yeah. So I'm like, the fact that I'm even able to do this is pretty exceptional. So I'll be honest, I was so just scared of the whole thing initially, but I got it. I was like, you know what, we're just gonna try this. We're just gonna see what happens. So let's see. So I wonder how you do that. Manage manage moderators. And then you have top chat. I don't know, maybe I'll Google it. That's what I usually do. I Google things. Boom. Okay, let's see here. You can use it. Eligibility requirements. Availability. Okay. And manage for my account, although I'm not logged into the right. Why does it do that? Let's see here. Manage it from my channel. Go to my features. And let's see here. Super chat. Ah, it wasn't enabled. My full name. Cool. Who knew? All right, well there you go. So it's officially enabled, although I have no idea if it's going to be active for this particular live stream. So, but there you go. It is officially there. Look at her sweet, sweet girl sleeping. Oh, my sugar bear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up. Just gonna adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. Okay, that'll do. Perfect. Right? Will that work? Okay. You're a good girl. Alright. I know, right? It sucks they can't have epidurals like we do. I'll tell you what, I never would have had children if there were no epidurals, I swear. Oh gosh. Oh, yeah, she looks like she's doing good. Hey there, Shilkers. Hey there, Shilkers. Hey there, mama. Hey there, mama. Hey there, mama. Oh, wow, thank you, Sarah. Holy cow, it is working. Thank you. That's very sweet. Oh, you're a good girl. You're a good girl. Oh, she's gonna go lay down. Now I have to switch my camera feed again. Let's see. Let's see. Alrighty. There we go. Whoop. Alright. There we go. Okay. What are you doing? Why are you messing with me? Why are you messing with my camera angles, women? You're too funny, girl. You're too funny. You're too funny. You're too funny. Oh, thank you, Jurassic Sushi. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Oh, there's somebody else. Who was that? I didn't even see that. Esther, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Very nice of you. Cass, thank you. Very much. YMK the Creative, thank you. I see you all the time. I appreciate your support. You guys are awesome. I appreciate that. I know, sugar. I know. I know. You getting tired? Alright. The snoring is... Let me look just to make sure. Pretty sure that's midnight. She's camped out on the mattress over here. Cashmere's breathing pretty hard. I'm wondering if I should take her out to go to the bathroom. She looks like she might need to go to the bathroom. As it gets more intense, the pressure makes them think that they need to go to the bathroom. Thank you very much, White Queen. Thank you, Haley. I'm gonna step out and take her to the bathroom real quick, and then I'll be right back, y'all. You wanna go potty? You wanna go potty? Right. Whoop. Oh man. That's our door, y'all. All right. Okay. All right. Let's go potty. I know. Let's go potty. Let's go potty. All right. Good. All right. Good girl. Good girl. All right, come on. All right. In you go. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, there we go. I'm not always good at that. It's tough doing that. Alright, awesome. Whew, okay. Good Lord. Alrighty. Wow, oh my gosh. Holy cow, I don't even know how to keep up with this. Well, thank you all. Seriously, that is awesome, you guys. But you literally have no idea how much this helps us right now. As many of you know, we've got new property that we've just bought, but with all the rain that we've had, we have not been able to get the septic put in or the well. And so our mortgage is due on the 1st, but we still have to live in this house. So we're gonna be doing double mortgages for probably this month, possibly the next month. So anyway, just, you know, you guys have no idea. I try not to like talk about all that kind of stuff or whatever, just because life is life and we all have life. But anyway, but it just really helps, and I appreciate you guys. Oh my God, Nancy's back. Are you serious? She's like a sexually transmitted disease that just will not go away, isn't she? Jeez. Oh my. Or Susan Nancy? Is it Susan Nancy? Is that the one now? I don't want to block the wrong person. Is it Susan Nancy? Oh my goodness, Susan. Okay. All right, let's find her. This is hysterical. You know what, though, you guys? It's something to do. I mean, it's a little entertainment, okay? I mean, without Nancy, what would we be doing right now? We would just be sitting here watching Cashmere, hoping that she eventually starts having puppies instead of just sitting here in pain. Let's see here. Where is this woman at? Little Miss Susan. There she is, Susan Nancy. Let's see here. Go to channel and block. Submit. Perfect. They will be quick to kill someone. What does she mean herself whenever she finally loses the last bit of stuff keeping her sane? Jeez. That's the pot calling the kettle black. Okay, so raise your hand if you want to be a moderator and help me out. Thank you, Royal Teddy. So, yes, these dogs will kill, but only if they're provided a reason to. I mean, you would have to seriously hurt someone, you know, or be trying to hurt someone for them to do anything, you know. I mean, they're great dogs like that. So, you know, but they're not just going to kill someone for no reason. But they are a protection breed, make no mistake about it. All right, let's see here. All right, I'm making moderators as we speak. You know what I had in my mind whenever I started thinking, you guys. I was like, you know what she probably thinks that you guys are my flying monkeys, because she probably thinks that I'm some evil witch. Oh God. So hopefully I made enough. I don't want to do too many, but I think I've made enough. So yeah. I kind of did it somewhat just randomly, so hopefully that works out. If we start to notice good comments getting disappearing, please let us know. Steph, thank you very much. Yes, that's what I figured. Yes, I need to be careful. I need to be careful. So I did just. Oh, thank you. Brewski, is that how you say that? Brewski? Yes, I appreciate it. I really do try to help everybody with the videos. I really do. So, that's my goal. Alrighty. Oh, look at her. She's getting some good sleepies. Oh, look at her settling down. That's good. So do we want to take bets on what Nancy's name is going to come up with next? Don't you think it's quite odd that at no point did she consider the fact that maybe she might want to remove the word Nancy? Just a thought. So, let's see. Somebody was asking if I can help them with their dog. Sometimes I can. It just depends on what the issue is. Over the phone, it's a little bit easier than in text because I can ask the questions and I can also get a feel for your voice, which can give me a feel for your general temperament, so I can kind of, make a judgment as to probably what's going on. But over messaging, it's a lot harder to do, I'll be honest. So let me see. Let's see here. Let's see. What do I think of Cesar Millan? I love Cesar Millan. When I first saw him, it was like a revelation because I had always been working with dogs the way that I work with them because I grew up with dogs and I just noticed the way that dogs communicate with one another because I'd read their body language. So whenever I saw him doing it, it was kind of like confirmation that I was on the right track or that I was doing the right thing. And I felt very empowered, I guess would be the word. And a lot of people will like accuse me of like watching too much season long, but the truth is it's not about that at all. Like if you read body language and you learn about canine behavior, then you come to the same conclusions no matter what. So it's not one person teaching another person, it's two separate people coming to the same conclusion through observing nature. And back in the day when I was growing up, everybody, there was just National Geographic. And, there was really an attempt made never to, humanize the animals, but definitely to try to find the most plausible explanation for the behavior. And so I feel like back in the day, people had more common sense when it came to reading body language of animals. Whereas now everyone's like, how dare you assume that this is this, or that it could be this, or it's like, it's really weird, but it's hard to really make much sense of it when everyone is trying to say, well, actually, it really could be this, or blah, blah, blah. Like it didn't used to be that way, and it's really complicated things. So, it is what it is. It's one of those things. So the cool thing about what I do is that people come to me after they have already failed through all of the, and I don't mean failed as in they failed. I mean the methods fail. So they try their best to be a good owner, and so they do all the things that they've been told they need to do, and then it doesn't work. And then they come to me and it works, and it works so well that then they have an even closer bond with their dog than they ever did before. And then it in itself becomes its own solution. Like you can't dispute what works and what works well. So just being honest and helping people to come to that conclusion and just show them is enough, because the more people know, then they tell other people, and that's just the way it works, right? So anyway, so you just always have to keep, instead of being, I always try not to be like, super hateful or anything like that. Like I try not to argue with people that have a different opinion than me. Y'all can't block me. Nancy Fancy. Oh my God, you gotta give her credit. She's persistent. That's cute, Nancy. You should let her stay. You should let her stay. Oh gosh. As far as so keeping track of the puppies, how am I gonna figure it out? So last time I didn't have to do little necklaces or whatever. We had such a wide array of colors. We had fawns, let me see, we had one fawn female, one brindle female, and one black female, and then one blue female. And then we had, let's see, two blue males, but they were different colors. One was like a light blue, and one was a dark blue. And then we had two brindles, but one was a black brindle, and one was a regular brindle. And then we had the two. I will say that we did have two fawns that looked. We called them the twins. And then we had a red fawn. So pretty much, I could tell them all apart, like just by looking at them. So I didn't need to have the stuff that most people do to be able to tell them apart. It just was easier with all the color. So yeah, and it's honestly, you know, not always typical to have that many colors. So, you know, it's pretty cool. It's nice to see. It's like a little rainbow. So, my thoughts on American bullies. Oh God. Oh God. Ooh. So, I guess I don't have a problem with a functional dog. I think that some of them can be very pretty. I worry about, this is my thing, right? So a lot of people say the pit bulls were never bred for fighting, but that's because there's so many opinions about the history of the pit bulls. Sorry, one of them is sleeping and is crying in their sleep right now. So I've actually taken the time to do a lot of research on this. I loved pit bulls back when I was like in high school. And back then, the history wasn't as polluted as it is now because it wasn't as political as it is now. And so, if you ever went on like if you do your research and you go to like the old, like the game dog forums and stuff like that, where you actually see what people would fight, they're very small dogs, very tiny dogs. If you look at like the Colby dogs, they're very tiny. So they're terrier, right? They're very high energy, intensity. Like the terrier is the one that goes into the badger hole without any care about its own safety. And it attacks and attacks. And thank you, Rachel. And it will get the job done no matter what. And so that's why they bred that in as far as whenever they're doing the pit bull fighting with them. And so when you take that temperament and then you mix it in with a mastiff type dog that has a natural suspicion of people, you're really creating a potentially dangerous mix. You're creating something that will find strangers suspicious, but not only will it find them suspicious, but it also has the temperament to disregard anything else to go in for that attack. Now, does that necessarily mean that that dog's going to behave that way genetically no matter what? No, it doesn't. With proper training, that dog can be just as safe as any other dog. But without proper training, it's the ultimate dog to take you down, right? It's why you hear stories nowadays of pit bulls mauling people when you didn't hear that, like, you know, I would say maybe, 50 years ago. So, and that's because, contrary to popular belief, they were bred not to be human aggressive. They didn't make good guard dogs. They just weren't. You needed to be able to handle them when they were very, what Cesar Millan would call red zone. So, I personally think that there's a reason that cross really wasn't done previously, back whenever people were using dogs for working purposes. So that's why I don't really, like, the American Bully is a dog that is really based on looks. Like, that's what people really want. They want a big, beautiful dog. And some of them are, like I said, but in the wrong hands, they can be very, they can be a problem. So, that's my feeling on the American Bully. And no, they were not the nanny dog. That is not true. That's a myth. If you look that up, it was actually the Staffordshire Bull Terrier that was called the nanny dog. It, it was not the pit bull. So that got twisted. But yeah, you should Google that one. That was one that I used to that I knew about a long time ago. So, and I will say that like some people would say that the original pit bull had Staffordshire Bull Terrier in it, and while that may very well be true, they're completely distinct and separate now, and I do believe that matters. So, let's see here. Staffordshire Bull Terrier, she's real softy, yeah. From what I've heard, they're still just sweet, sweet dogs. I always wanted one. I've only actually seen one real one in person, and they're just gorgeous, gorgeous. And yeah, so Staffordshire. So the difference between the Staffordshire and like a pit bull is they all came from the same gene pool, but then the AKC decided that they wanted to get away from the stereotypes, so they decided to change the name and close the stud book. And so all those dogs were bred for the show ring and to have a more show dog temperament. So while at one point, yes, they were definitely the same gene pool, that all dogs at some point were from the same gene pool. So if you keep breeding its own separate lines, then it is going to be different, and that's why you will see a difference between the Amstaff and the ADBA American Pit Bull Terrier. So Hulk, yes, I have heard of Hulk. My biggest problem with Hulk is that he's really overweight, and it's having a breed like the Cane Corso. You don't want people to keep them overweight because it can be bad for their bodies. So seeing someone have their dog so overweight, I find to be a bad role model for everyone else, and that is, I just find it to be generally just kind of destructive in general. So. But as far as him being a pit bull, he's not a pit bull. I'll make that very clear. He's not a pit bull. He's not special in that. I mean, he's just one of many dogs that is registered as a pit bull that's not, that isn't what a pit bull was. Thoughts on French Bulldog? Aside from all the health issues, I think they're really cool little dogs, but it's unfortunate that they have so many health issues. Do I think Hulk is well trained? I have no idea. I cannot force myself to watch stuff on him because I get mad and then I want to make a comment. So, my thoughts on German Shepherds. I think they're great, but really not for me. I like a more Mastiff temperament. Let me see. Thoughts on Bull Terriers. I had a Bull Terrier at one point. I think they're great. Definitely very high energy, but they're pretty funny. I would say he's probably mixed with, there's probably some French Mastiff in there somewhere. Let's see here. Thoughts on Old English Bulldogs? I really like them. I I actually had one at one point, but he had some health issues, so we couldn't use him for breeding. But I do definitely like I do like him a lot. What kind of mindset should you have when getting a Cane Corso as a first dog? I don't think you should get a Cane Corso as a first dog. I really don't. I just think that you should have a baseline for at least dog behavior before you start with a concentrated version of it, because that's what I would say would be the difference, is that the Cane Corso is a concentrated version. So let's see here. Let's see here. Somebody said thoughts on Rottweilers. I've said some stuff about Rottweilers. I love them. They're one of my favorites. Rhodesian Ridgebacks, I really don't know much about. I've only met one. He's a very pretty dog, but I really don't know much about them. Let's see, Huskies. Yeah. Huskies, every time I've ever seen a husky, it's parading around with its tail up in a dominant stance. But I'm sure that there are great ones out there. But yeah, I've heard they run away a lot. So yeah. As far as boxers, I've never owned a boxer. I don't really like the look of them. So anyway, and especially when they get older, I don't know, I've never liked them. So a good starter dog. I don't know. I would say probably honestly, I would, to be perfectly honest with you, if you go to the shelter and you find like an older dog, one that's actually like, well trained and probably came from a good home and, just needs another good home, like that would probably be, if you're an adult and you weren't raised with a dog in your home or anything like that, then it could really be a good way to get your feet wet, because the truth is, trying to raise a puppy when you've never even owned a dog or lived with a dog is just asking a lot of somebody. It really is. So having a dog that's already trained, that will kind of make it a little bit easier on you, is a good option. And plus their energy level is already lower because of the fact that they are older. So so that's what I would say. Let's see here. The Cane Corso, what made me fall in love with them? Gosh, well, probably their dedication to you, like the love that they have for you. I've always had dogs that are like really affectionate and loving, but I've never had a dog that like was so dedicated. It's kind of hard to describe. I don't, unless you've had one, it's just hard to describe. But they're genuine. I don't know. It's just very hard to describe. Their only goal in life is to be there with you, help you whenever you need them. And this is like, it takes training, because I always tell people, like, they're born right out of the gate like Secret Service agents, right? Like, they're totally dedicated to you, and they're like looking at everything, and they're like, is this a threat? And is this a threat? And you have to show them, be like, no, this isn't a threat, and this is cool too. And you just take them, and you show them the world so that they don't overreact to everything. And all they want to do is be there with you, going through life with you, and just dedicating themselves to you. And that is just like, I don't know how to describe it, but for me, it inspires a great amount of respect. Um, and it just makes me thankful, and it just makes me want to do everything that I can to to give them what they need, so that I don't have any like regrets or any bad feelings about anything having owned them. So yeah. Is Preacher a Republican? I think that he would probably say he's unaffiliated. So let's see here. South African Mastiff. I have heard great things about them, but I was actually looking into breeding them before I got the Cane Corso, but I didn't like how small the gene pool was here in America. At the time, the black dogs were not being registered, and I didn't like the frequency that people were being bitten in the groups. And a lot of people made excuses for the dog's behavior. It's also common in this breed where like people won't socialize their dogs, and then their dog will be afraid of people and will bark at people, and then they'll be like, oh well, that's just like part of the breed. And it's like, no, that's not part of the breed. You didn't socialize your dog. And so, or they won't do, dominance or what, they won't work with the dog, and so the dog bites them or whatever it is, and then they try to say it's just the way the breed is. And so there's a lot of bad behavior that's excused for just the, quote, breed temperament, which is just kind of, it's a little bit of nonsense. So I just decided that I didn't want to get involved in that. So the Shiba Inu, I don't know anything about them, not anything. Haven't even done any research. Akitas, every Akita I've ever seen was owned by a guy that was like half the size of it, and he could hardly control it. It was huge and aggressive. So, and I'm not saying at all that that's the way they are. I'm just saying that's the only way I've seen them. I'm sure that there are lovely ones with great temperaments. I've never seen any. So, is she gonna give birth soon? I don't know, y'all. I'm over here freaking out myself. Like, she's over here taking a break, but I guess it's just the way it is. Thoughts on the dachshunds. So if they're raised right, they're awesome. I love them. But if they're not raised right, oh my god, they can be very annoying. Very annoying. What do I think of wolf hybrids? So I wanted a wolf for the longest time. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I just felt like because I could do the body language stuff, that I would be able to have a relationship with one. But after talking to breeders, I changed my mind, and I decided that, I didn't want, because the thing is like even the Cane Corso will challenge you, so I didn't want to be challenged by a huge wolf, if I'm being honest. So, with these guys, we have the benefit of them at least being domesticated, but wolves are not. So you just kind of have to let them do whatever they want to do, and I can't do that. So, bull mastiffs, I've never had one. Burmese mountain dogs, I think they're beautiful. Never had one personally. So, but I think they're gorgeous. Great Danes, I've had one. They can be a bit high energy for such a big dog. And a lot of people, they always hear them say, "Oh, they're low energy," and mine wasn't. And the ones that I've seen they were very big, dominant guys. Still good dogs, but definitely, I would say high energy. Let's see here. How many do I expect her to have? Over 10 is what the breeder said. Over 10. So, no, I do not think silver labs are real labs. I think that they are Weimaraner mixes. Would I recommend a Rottweiler as your first dog? I don't know because I'm not familiar with the Rottweiler of today. The Rottweilers that I'm familiar with were from many, many years ago, and they don't look at all like what they did then, and I'm quite sure that they probably don't act the same. Pressa, I don't have any experience with, although I've heard that they're a little bit of a hotter temperament than a Cane Corso. Schnauzers, I've heard really great things about. I wanted a giant Schnauzer for a while, but I can't get past having to groom them the way that you have to. But if I had, money at my disposal to just be able to like take my dog in and have it groomed all the time, then I would totally have a big, huge black giant Schnauzer. So, yeah, for a first dog, I would say, there's the thing that I would say is within every breed, or I will say within most breeds, you can usually find people that breed for usually like a show temperament is what that's basically called. And you can get dogs that, are going to be better suited. So I wouldn't say to go for like a working temperament, like a working line Labrador, but you could go with like a show line Labrador. Just make sure that you go with somebody that does health testing because even they have hip problems now. Golden Retrievers, I grew up with one of those. Absolutely love them. I think they're beautiful. Let's see. I mean, honestly, I really do. This is one of those areas where I really do think that the shelter is a good spot to go because there's so many animals that get turned in that actually have like training already. So it's kind of like how people tell you that if you're going to get a first horse that you should get an older gelding because the training's already there and you don't really have to do as much and it's easier for you to kind of thank you, Sarah. It's easier for you to kind of learn without the risk of kind of doing much harm. So so that's why I say that. I think there is that place for that. So, there's I used to work in shelter, especially whenever I was young, and there were always dogs I wanted to take home. There's always really awesome dogs there. Now, when you get to the point that you want a breed, you want a very specific breed, and maybe you do want a puppy, then you can do that. But thank you, Sarah. But you definitely, don't want to start off that way. So the Bully Kudda, I've seen a lot of those dogs. They very few of them look very well built. A lot of them seem to have some structural issues in the rear. So I haven't seen enough good Bully Kuddas for me to want to jump into that breed. So how to socialize a puppy before vaccines? It's really not a big deal. You don't have to. They developmentally, they don't really start to need to be socialized until they get to be, a little bit older. Usually whenever they start going into that, fear stages is where you really want to get it. So Brazilian Mastiffs, I want to say what's a Fila Brasilo, right? So the Fila, from what I understand, is supposed to be a dog that is untouchable by strangers. They're supposed to be extremely aggressive of people that they don't consider immediate family. It's even written in their standard that they are allowed to attack the judge. So, and they are not to be faulted over it. So, take that as you will. if you want that, then do that. But that you need to be careful. So, my first dog, I don't even know. I've had dogs my whole life, pretty much. I just have. So, let's see here. Do I like blue bay shepherds? So, I don't really know much about them. I thought that they were a wolf hybrid, and so I don't know. I try not to you know, really judge a dog if I don't know too much about them. I just personally don't. I have a harder time with the shepherd temperament. They have this usually a very high energy temperament, and that is I like a dog that is off when I want it to be off, and shepherds really don't always turn off. So they'll pace your house panting, and it just drives me nuts. It gives me anxiety. So I like to have a calm dog. Like when I'm at the house, I want a dog that's just gonna relax and chill, and that's what the Cane Corso do. They just chill, and when you want to go out, they want to go out, and when they don't, then they don't. So my camera is sitting on a little decorative shelf thing. Healthiest dog breed? Gosh, who knows? I have no idea at this point. A lot of people think it's, that it's like dog breed or this or that, but the truth is, I think a lot of the things that are happening to dogs has a lot more to do with vaccinations and I'm not saying that they're putting stuff in it purposely. I'm just saying that there is the potential that bodies are just responding negatively to it, especially all the ones that we give them, and antibiotics. And we know now that whenever you give them a little bit, and then maybe you don't finish it, and then they start to get tolerance to it, and so and then the food that we've been feeding them to, like now we're really finding out that dog food's really bad, and especially now that we're finding out about the grain-free and that they're not getting the taurine. So it's hard to blame a breed when everything about dogs has really diminished in quality, and they're surrounded with as many toxins as we are, if not more. I mean, we wouldn't eat dog food. So, it's just one of those things that it's hard to kind of, it's hard to really make that judgment right now. So, what time is it? 3:41 in the morning. Let me see here. I do feed, not to the babies, but I do feed raw. European Doberman, I don't really know much about them. I did grow up with two Dobermans, Darth and Vader, I guess my mom called them. I vaguely remember them. I just remember them being very loyal, intense dogs. I don't remember them being very fun, but I do remember them being very serious, dedicated dogs. So, right, let's see. So, as far as weak temperament, I have a video on that. That would take a long time to talk about that. Let's see here. I do have a Savannah cat. She's I guess an SBT. I think that's what it's called. So basically, she's been bred more than 5 generations. So the only real difference you can tell between her and a Bengal is that the Bengal has a rosette and she has just the single spots. Let's see here. Central Asian Shepherd. Oh God, I think they're gorgeous. Especially the Overchaka. I think that's what it's called. Gosh, I would love one of those, but I don't know if that would work out here in Texas. But I do worry that. So one time I had a Anatolian Shepherd Great Pyrenees mix, and in those dogs, oh my God, they are very independent. They don't like to listen, and you cannot take them off leash. Like they will take off. Thank you, W3 Stones. And they will just take off. And as you guys know, I like to do off leash stuff. So a dog that will not do off leash, like I just can't have. So it's really important to always do your research on breeds because it matters. You know, even if you're a good trainer, you can't train out of breed temperament. So, you know, you want to make sure that you get a dog that fits your personality and your lifestyle. And so it's important to take that stuff seriously. Thoughts on the Belgian Malinois. So I think they're great working dogs. I don't think that most people can handle them because they have a bona fide, genuine, authentic working temperament, meaning that all they really want to do is work. So if you don't work them, then they're usually miserable and they're going to drive you crazy. And so, you know, and they're very intense dogs, very intense dogs. So I've personally never wanted one just based off what I've seen and what I've heard. I've got a military friend of mine that used to have one, and he would tell me about how just in training that dog would just chew on him, and that was just like part of it. And so I think they call them melon heads. So anyway, so I I have no interest in that. Like I have no hill to climb. You know what I mean? I'm just looking for a big dog. As far as how long was she in labor for having her last puppy or the last time, I don't know. Whenever I started to notice that she was going into labor, it was probably around 5 or 6, maybe in the evening, and she was on my bed, panting, and so I took her and made up the closet and I put her in there, and I think I just sat in my room and watched TV until I heard a squeak, and then I ran over. So I didn't really, I didn't really time it. Like I just kind of gave her the time. You know, this time doing it with you guys is really the only reason why I'm kind of watching her like this, because it really is a long process, especially this part of it. If you do some Googling on the processes of labor, it's, it takes a long time for this part. So, hey honey, hey there, hey there, here's your mama, hey there baby. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. Is Preacher a service dog? He has been trained in service dog requirements. So technically, there's no like qualification. There is a standard of kind of like an etiquette. So basically, the dog shouldn't go to the bathroom inside of the establishment. The dog should not seek attention, and the dog needs to actually provide a genuine service to the person, first of all. So with me, I have bad knees. I've talked about this before, but I've injured them quite seriously on 2 separate occasions, and everybody knows when you hear me, my knees are clicking. And so sometimes, especially when the pressure's bad and it's raining or whatever, my knees can just get very kind of swollen and painful, and so it helps to just have him to kind of lean on. So and he is trained to like come and assist me. Like there are very specific words that I use, so he does fit that criteria. However, I don't abuse that. There is a certain amount of training that's required, because obviously the dog has to learn how to behave in that situation. So thank you. Stazil, sorry if I said that wrong. Um, so thoughts on catahoulas. I've actually been around a couple of them here in Texas, with Louisiana being right by us. I've always liked them. They're a very cool looking dog, just color wise and temperamentally. I have found them to be a pretty chill dog. They weren't overly energetic, and especially considering that they're a working breed and a very recent working breed. And I also, I'm not sure that they're considered a hound, but I don't remember them being as loud as a hound. So, for example, I've had a, I had a black and tan coonhound, and they are loud, very loud. So, so anyway, yeah. All right. Let's see. Would I recommend that Cunny Corso for someone who lives in an apartment? Sure, as long as you get them out and you get exercise with them, don't have a problem with it. What do I think of emotional service animals and people abusing the system? Well, I live in Austin, so I see it all the time. People bring their dogs in. They like, another rule is if you have a service dog, you're not allowed to have them in the cart. And I see people with their little dogs in the cart all the time. And it really frustrates me because we have a system set up that enables people to use their dogs without a lot of cost involved. You can train your own dog. And if everybody followed the rules, it's actually a really good system. But people like that break the rules, they're the ones that force more laws to be passed and more regulations, which really end up hurting people that maybe don't have the money or even the resources to go out and get all that stuff done, as far as like the forms or whatever it would be and all the traveling and whatnot. So it's really unfortunate that people take advantage of that. So if let me see if I could assemble a Frankenbreed. So for me, I'm all about function. So if you Google the Allant, I really love those dogs. They're one that really hasn't, very few people you'll see breed them. But ultimately, I would love to see like a Cane Corso Greyhound cross. That would just be like amazing to me. Thank you, Kathy. So, so yeah, so that's, I want the head of a Cane Corso, well, no, the head of Preacher on a really, really well built Greyhound. So that would be my personal favorite, but probably not many people would like it because it's not thick and it's not muscly and it's not, it's not like that. But I tell you what, it would work for you. The Shar-Pei. So the Shar-Pei, I've done some research on them, and from what I understand, they are a hyper type. So there are some that I've seen, the ones that have all the wrinkles and all that, it's not, they actually should grow out of most of those wrinkles. So when they don't, then that is that's not a good thing. It wasn't the way that they were. So almost all breeds now, thank you, Davida. Almost all breeds now definitely have really transformed a lot in their type, just based on the years of them being bred in the show ring. So it's important to always to do your research, to really go way back and look and see what the dogs looked like, to find the truth, because it's never what you see right on the surface. So let's see here. Mexican hairless, yeah, those look pretty cool. Do my dogs shed a lot? So the Cane Corso are seasonal shedders. When the temperature changes, they shed. And oh my gosh, they drop their hair. They just drop it off. It's just in like a month, all their hair is, replaced. And that is actually really annoying. But honestly, not having to deal with it for the rest of the season is pretty cool. So, Weimaraners, I'm not very fond of them. They tend to, from what I've seen, be pretty nervous dogs. I used to work at a dog boarding place, and it was always a Weimaraner that would be having, oh gosh, not what I'm not going to remember what it's called right now. Somebody else can correct me, but it is a stress-induced diarrhea that they get. So, hey there, Shoulders. Hey there, Mama. Yes. Yes. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Yeah, you're a good girl. Mm-hmm. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. What, do you want to go outside? Do you want to go outside? Alright, y'all. I'm going to take her outside again. We'll be back. Okay. Alright, it is 3:58 a.m. here. Thank you guys. Oh my. Alright. I'm not sure if she's getting close, y'all. There's really no telling. Just like women, every pregnancy is different, unfortunately. But from what I understand, YouTube is supposed to save the live stream. So if you fall asleep, don't worry about it. You can check back in later. Italian Greyhound, I'm not really fond of how small they are, but they are cool little dogs. So, is it cold? Yeah, for us it is. Um, Dalmatians, have they been mentioned? No. Um, Dalmatians, you know, for me personally, I haven't seen any that I personally thought had a temperament that I wanted to live with, and I know that they also have a lot of inherent health issues. So it's just not something that I personally would be very interested in. So personal protection dogs. So that's more of a title, not necessarily a breed. Um, and I mean, I personally would consider a kind of Corso to be a personal protection breed because I mean, if Preacher thinks somebody's trying to hurt me, then he absolutely is going to step in, and he's done it. Like he's done it. So that to me is what I want. I don't want a dog that has it in their head that they can go and like attack. So let's see. Bully. Know you raise pits, but in my opinion, the temperament of the breed is so different from the game-like drive of the American Pit Bull Terrier. Yes, that can be true. Most definitely. A lot of American bullies don't have a game dog temperament, but some of them do. So it's if you do have a dog that has more of a lot of times they'll mix in the English bulldog, and if you have that, then that's awesome and that's great for you. But if your dog isn't like that and you do have one that has more of a game dog temperament, then and I will say, like, there's so many people that have a different opinion of what would be considered a game dog temperament. So to clarify my statement, I will just say that for me, what I consider to be a game dog temperament would be a dog that has the not just the willingness to fight, but is looking for a fight, spoiling for a fight. That's the kind of dog that enjoys a good fight. That's the kind of dog that I'm talking about. So let's see here. What's an unpredictable breed? Like, yeah, I'm cuddly, but I'll bite a hole in your head breed. That could be any breed with an unstable temperament. So, Cashmere's temperature. Last I checked, it was 99.7, but we can check it again. Let's take a look and see. All right, where's our oil at? Okay. All right. Come here, honey. Come here. Come here. She's like, nope, I don't want you sticking it up my butt. Come here. Come here. Are you gonna let me do it? Are we close enough? Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. All right, you're good girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. All right, so. I see you, I know. I'm sorry. Yep, you're a good girl. Yep, so she's back up to 100, which is not a not a fever for a dog. Whew. Whew. Thank you, YMK. Yes, she is. She's not having it. So she's been going from 100 to 99.7, hurtling around there. But anyway, I still think she's in labor. What's the difference between the runt and the rest of the litter? So, the runt, a genuine runt, a real runt, is a very small puppy, is an abnormally small puppy. Not every litter has a runt. Now, a lot of people refer to the runt as the smallest dog in the litter, but personally, I don't agree with that. So that hasn't been my experience. Yeah, I bet, Lucas, I think you're right. I think she is gonna have daytime babies. So. What's the difference between the American and the Italian Cane Corso? So really preference, first of all. They originally, if history is to be believed, they started off as the same stock, and the Americans bred for a certain looking dog, and the Italians bred for a certain looking dog, and so the truth is the dogs are all over the place. If you just look at them, they really are. Like, you have some that look like Preacher, and you have some that look like Blondie, and then you have some that look like Tennessee, and some that look like none of my dogs, and that's because instead of everyone breeding for like a uniform type, everyone's been breeding for what they think is the right type. So everyone's just kind of doing what they think is best, and so there's no uniformity. So that's just kind of the way it is. So we think there's going to be at least 10, probably more like 12. The most unique color I've seen in a Corso is probably the Formentino. I think is stunning. Okay, let's see here. Jarska, this is Cashmere's second litter. And what time is it here in Texas? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Ridgebacks, don't know anything about them, not really. I've met a couple of them. Met one, at a dog park where I actually like talked to the owner and stuff. But I've seen a couple other ones. But I don't know. There's really nothing striking that made me feel like attracted to them. Has she been drinking water? Yes, when she feels like it. It's actually really cold in the house right now. It's like 66 degrees. I was literally in here like shivering earlier. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice, but and I have the heat lamp turned away from her. So let me see. I've talked about the Belgian Malinois, talked about the mixed dogs, about the Chow. I like Chows. We had a Chow mix named Bella. She was a black Chow pit bull mix, and I loved her to pieces, and I think that Chows are a really pretty breed. I just think that, like anything, you're just gonna have to make sure you breed them, healthy wise. The Great Pyrenees I've talked about. They're very independent. They're not an easily trained dog, and they cannot be walked off leash. They will take off, and they'll run away from your house too. How many dogs did I have in my life? Geez, I couldn't even count. I literally couldn't even count, because I used to foster dogs. I used to be that person that everyone knew they could, like the person in the neighborhood that everyone knew they could bring their dogs to, because I could never tell anyone no. So yeah. So I mean, I would, like, if I saw a dog on the side of the road, like, I was gonna pick it up. Like, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't. So I've had a lot of kind of dogs and stuff. How about Halfex? So I actually know Donald Halfeck, and he breeds you know, dogs that I find to be, you know, quite beautiful. And, you know, they're definitely working type dog. And what I understand, they have a, you know, great temperament. So, you know, he's worked really long and hard for that. It's not just a random mix. So I think that's important. And, you know, yeah, I would, you know, highly recommend him. The only thing that I would normally say, not considering Donald, but with other people that are doing mixes, is that a lot of people think that when you mix two breeds together, that your puppies are 50% of one and 50% of the other, but that's not the way that genetics work. So a puppy, especially because dogs have so many offspring, the ability for genetics to express themselves is greater. So if you breed a Great Dane to a Pit Bull, you're going to have a percentage of those puppies that are going to pull more from the Great Dane, and others are going to pull more from the Pit Bull. And so they're not just a 50% mix. Even if you genetically tested them, they wouldn't be. So, so the problem with when you are buying from somebody who's doing that mixing is that there is no guarantee that the offspring are actually going to look like the parents. So that's why, usually, why breed matters, because breed, you typically have that uniformity. So, look, so she's starting to clean herself, starting to look, see, we're heating up a little bit, y'all. Would I ever let my dogs go catch some hogs? No. No, I would not. There's way too many people that are breeding hog dogs that are way better at it than my dogs. You know, there's people out in East Texas that are breeding, you know, pit bulls and, you know, larger, massive type dogs together. A lot of big red-nosed dogs. So, and then they've got a lot of people don't realize there's two different dogs. So they use one dog to hunt them down, a hound type dog. And then you have the other dog that goes in, which is a catch dog. That dog goes in after the hounds have cornered it, and you send the big ones in, and they go in, they grab it, they hold it down, and then the guy can come in and dispose of the hog. So, it's A.W. Shoulders. So, you're a good girl. So anyway, you know, would I let my dogs do it? No. I mean, there's just way too many people that have been bred for it. So, there's just no. My dogs have not been bred. The Cane Corso has not been used for work very much. Unfortunately, what ended up happening with them is they were a breed that was starting to go extinct because they were really not being used natively anymore. And so because of that, when they did get rescued, they immediately went to show. And a lot of the decisions that were made in regards to this breed were based upon the fact that they were being used in show. So they've lost a lot of that natural instinct. Now, is it completely gone? No, but you do have to look for it. So that's why whenever I went and got Tennessee, I brought up the fact that I got her because she came from working lines, and that's important. Let's see, would I ever keep one of the puppy's tails uncropped? So, unfortunately, because of the fact that, like, let's just say this. If you wanted your puppy's tail, because I personally don't have a problem with it, but this is the deal, is that in order to do it, because it's done so early, you would have to make your pick at a point when there's no telling what the puppies would look like. So, what's the matter, baby girl? You're fine. I know. Like, yeah. So she's probably heating up a little bit. Not as in temperature. I mean, like, as in, you know, her contractions or whatnot. I wouldn't say she's got. I'm not seeing contractions yet, but the process is probably heating up. It gets harder for them. So, let's see here. I've never heard of a Canis panther. Let's see. Am I still getting on small cows? Yes, I can't wait to get my miniature cows. Although, from what I understand, they're not technically miniatures. They're considered just bred down, and they're the low-line cattle. Is it normal for dogs to eat their puppies? No. Is there a difference between a female and male dog in Cane Corsos and other large breeds? Yes. It's even written in the standard that there should be a difference in size between them. The Zolo dog, gosh, I can't remember that. I think it's like is it a Chinese dog? I don't know anything about them, to be honest with you. The Fila, I talked about the Fila. You have to be totally cool with a dog that wants to attack anybody that comes around you that doesn't know you, pretty much, if we're to believe the standard. German Shorthair Pointer, really awesome dogs, require a lot of exercise, but if you can get them their exercise, great, beautiful dogs. Old English Sheepdog. We had a neighbor when I was growing up that lived all the way down at the end of our street, and she had huge Old English Sheepdogs. She had these outside kennels, but she also kept them inside, and they were so big that I could ride on top of them when I was like 7 years old. And they were so cool. They were a really cool breed. The hair would be worrisome to me, but if you can, if you have one dog and you don't mind the grooming, they're a great breed. But I will say they slobber a lot, and they get, because of that long hair around their mouth, that's just like bleh. So the Irish Setter, I think, is one of the most beautiful dogs out there. That really deep chestnut red that they come in. Oh my God, I think it's gorgeous. So, let's see here. Alaskan Malamutes, I think, are pretty cool. I just personally wouldn't want any type of dog with a super high energy that requires a lot of work. Keeping sheep, no. I don't want to have to worry about cutting their fleece off. Is it fleece? Is it called fleece? I feel like it is. My experience with Rottweilers was whenever I was really young, but I've always known them to be very loyal, kind of like what the Cane Corso is, which is very loving to the family, very trusting, very good dogs. But if somebody tries to hurt you, they will absolutely take them down without a second thought. But really good family dogs, from my understanding. Let's see here. I've not heard of I'm going to say that wrong, Cadeboy? Debut? I don't know. Don't know anything about them, unfortunately. So, Samoyed. I actually, you're not going to believe this, but I grew up with a Samoyed. Her name was Seneca. That's where I got the name Seneca from. And she was awesome. She used to do this really cool thing where she would stare at the ground, and she would do this 3 hops in succession. So she would hop, 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 and then her third hop, she would thrust her front feet at the ground and bark at the ground. It was the cutest thing in the world. I swear to God, I loved her so much. She was so gorgeous. So anyway, yeah. All right, so let's see here. Car Shepherd, never heard of it, unfortunately. Kangal. So, heard good things about him. I personally don't find him to be a very attractive breed. I've also heard that one lady imported one to guard her property, and it didn't do a very good job, so you never know. I have heard of an Irish Water Spaniel. I personally have never been around one. Is the Amstaff less aggressive than real pits? Most likely, yes. They've been bred away from the pit for a very long time, even longer than the bully, for sure. Have you ever heard of the Kangal? Yes, I have. Yep. You're welcome, Ellen. Opinions on Vizslas or Dobermans? So, both of those dogs, from what I understand, have a pretty high energy, very high energy requirements. So, if you get one, just be prepared to do a lot of, work and, exercising them. Thank you, Destiny. I appreciate that. Never heard of a Kitimani dog. Let's see here. Craziest thing I've seen at a dog park. uh, well, was a lady come in with a German Shepherd that was like going crazy and like wanted to attack everyone, but she still brought it in. And she had like some treats with her, and she kept trying to give it treats, and then she let it off the leash anyway, even though it was already a basket case. And it like went and immediately tried to attack a dog. So she ran over and picked him up, carried him to this huge German Shepherd, carried him to her car, and he was snarling and going crazy. And I just laughed. I just laughed. It's like, that's what treats will get you. so anyway, you're a good girl. I love you. You're a good girl. Let's see here. Irish Wolfhound. Oh God, I love them. I think they're awesome. As far as I understand, their energy requirements are not too big. The only thing that bugs me is I don't like any dog with a lot of hair on their chin that gets a lot of water stuck to it. You're a good girl. I know, you're a good girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Let's see. St. Bernard, I've never had one. Velocity is closest to Seneca. Let's see here. And do I like Staffordshire Bull Terriers? Yes, I do. I think they're awesome. Why did I stop breeding pit bulls? Because bully dogs became the only acceptable like form of dog apparently, and or you know, they became the new pit bull. So I didn't want to be a part of that, especially like they weren't breeding like the extra large pit bull that like there's people that have dogs like Hulk, and then there's this other woman that has this one lady, extra large designer bullies. She's got a gorgeous dogs, very functional, good looking dogs. So I care more about function. Which mastiff breed would I say is the healthiest? Well, I think the Corso, in my opinion. So no, I don't believe in anyone breeding those exotic dogs. Those are just, oh God, that, you know, people like that, honestly, like they are like I said, there are people that just can't use common sense, and they do things that are so outrageous that they make other people have to pass legislation in order to make sure that abuses are not made. And it's just ridiculous that there's not enough common sense in breeding, that these people won't breed dogs that, you know, I mean, oh my God, the tragedy, like elbows out, way too wide, you know, just horrible dogs, and they're just completely non-functional, and but you know, it just, people buy them, so I don't know, it's weird, but it is what it is, you know. So let's see here. Reliable stay and recall, no treats. I have a video on stay and recall. I teach them when they're really young, and yes, I do mean like pocket pits. Yeah, like all the, especially just like the exotics, like anything that's bred to look cool without any consideration of or whether or not that animal is functional. Let's see here. Good night, Isabella. No, my cat is not trained at all. Never tried to. Let's see here. It is 4:24 here. What do I think about the channel 1st and 50th Airborne? I don't know. I've never watched it. I wouldn't go with a Rottweiler or a Cane Corso as a first dog. I just wouldn't. Let's see here. Not sure. Don't know much about bearded collies. Let's see here. Oh, the Bracco Italiano. Isn't that an Italian hound? Gosh, I want to say they're really pretty. I don't know anything about them, but as far as I understand it, they are they're an Italian hound dog with long ears, I believe. Let's see here. No, I do not have any intentions of keeping any puppies out of this litter, but I will out of my next litter. So. I know, you're a good girl. Yes, you are. You're a good girl. I know. Yeah. I know. Yeah, you're a good girl. So was the Cane Corso bred for herding or protection? I would say protection. What's the matter? What's the matter? Do you need to go outside again? Alright, I'm gonna take her outside again. Usually, like I said, when it starts to heat up like this, the pressure makes them think they gotta go to the bathroom a lot. Best to just indulge her at this point. Okay. There's my girl. Okay. Alright, let's go. Let's go outside. Come on. That's it. Outside. Cashmere, let's go. No. Let's go. Come on. Okay. All right. Oh, who was that? Thank you, Vernell. My thoughts on the Canis panther. I unfortunately don't know anything about the Canis panther. I've never actually heard of it. So, yeah, I don't know. Have I heard of the Buceron? I have heard of them. In fact, what's funny is today my daughter and I were watching the movie called The Bear, which was, I believe, made in 1988. And if you watch that, the dogs that they used to hunt down the bear, I thought I thought they were Bucerons. So, I don't know anything about them other than that, but they looked like a functional working dog. Let's see here. Let me see. Thoughts on wolf dogs? I guess if you've got the land and it works for you, then, by all means, but I don't think it's for everybody. Let's see, do my dogs include probiotics? No. I really go off the whole, less is more concept. So I just try to give them what they need and go that route. American Foxhounds. I've actually known an American Foxhound, only one, so that's not, really a fair judgment of the breed. But that one in particular was very, very headstrong and stubborn. Not that it couldn't be trained, but it was just very, it was going to be a tough dog to train. Thank you, Jean. My dog and cat get along quite well. When she gets tired of their crap, she chases them around and beats them up. So, let's see here. Best food? Oh gosh, I don't know. That one I don't even know right now. Yes, Cashmere would growl at anybody who came over to look at the pups. So, which of my dogs will be bred next? That'll be Velocity, and she'll be bred on her second heat. Dilly's, Piggy's, yes, she's definitely going through labor. Whether or not she's actually experiencing contractions quite yet, not quite sure on that. So usually you'll see it, she'll actually grunt and she'll kind of push off stuff. So even if she is, I wouldn't really consider them to be very strong right now. So let's see here. It's Midnight is the one who's scoring. I breed on the second heat because that's when the dogs are full grown and able to, produce young without having a stunting effect on the body. Pariah dogs, never actually heard of those. Thanks a bunch. Second heat is when I think you should breed a dog, not the first. I've seen a lot of females have a problem, especially females like this that produce really big young. I've seen a lot of problems in females that have been bred on a first heat. They just don't have the size yet to be able to pass the puppies. The puppies are still the same. Puppies are not based upon how old the female is. They're going to be as big as they're going to be. So if your female isn't very big yet, and she's not going to be at that age, she's definitely not going to have the hips for it. So the odds that you're going to have a problem are pretty big. Whereas if you just waited, then she wouldn't have that problem. I waited until her second heat to breed her. Let's see, are there any hogs on my new property? There was a hog trap. We believe that there could be hogs, but I haven't seen any. How long will I breed Cashmere for? Till she's 4 years old. Thank you, Merjam. Sorry, I'm horrible about pronunciation of people's names. But yes, you're absolutely welcome. And you're welcome, Kennedy. So how long till we see the first pup? Well, I don't know. Every female's different. She's just going through her process right now. You guys are seeing more than most people did. For a while, she was completely quiet and sleeping. So that just, they go through this process of sleeping and then going through having, contractions, and then they go back to sleep again, and, until it really heats up. So those of us that have had children, we know. And yes, she will be spayed once she is retired. And the reason for that is because if you do not spay them, then they're at risk of pyometria. Alright. Let's see here. And how late will I stay up with her? I will stay up with her until she's done. What kind of wildlife do we have? We have white-tailed deer. We have rabbits. We have wild turkey. And hey there, Shilvers. Yeah, I know. Let me scratch your booty. I saw a crow out there today. I went out there today. Mommy loves you. Mommy loves you. It's your mommy loves you. Oh, you just squishy your booty. What's a squishy booty? It's a good girl. What a good girl. So, So anyway. What age do I retire breeding dogs? 4 years old. Will you fence off the new property? Yes, I will. Absolutely. How many times do I breed her in a year? As many times as she goes in heat. Let's see here. How many times have you bred her total? This is her second litter. Let's see here. What age will I breed velocity? I don't breed off age. I breed off heat cycles. So, and for those of you that may not be regular viewers, if you have an issue with a female being bred what is called back-to-back, then you need to do some research on the female canine reproductive system. It is absolutely dangerous to not breed a female every time because of the risk of pyometria. And pyometria is due to not breeding a female. And it is, the chances of it are heightened every time that you skip a heat. So if you think you know and you're looking for something to judge me for, you're not going to find it here. Okay. So just don't even try. So, and we'll remove you from the chat. And that's the other thing is, if you think that I should risk my dog's life just because you have some preconceived notion, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go there. So I'm not going to have that discussion. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. 4 years, that sounds young. They live to be 10. Yes, it is young. I do retire my females young. And mostly that's just because I really breed for myself. So, I've got Midnight. Midnight will be older. And so, I'll get a male. Like, I really don't need a bunch of puppies out of Cashmere. And I really, I like for a dog to be able to just, like, be like a pet, just, like, chill. So, you know, so it's just my personal preference. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Go lay down. You will go lay down? Do you want me to go in there? Do you want me to go in there and lay down with you? Do you want me to sit with you? No? You're not getting out. I don't want to let her out right now because all she wants to do is go outside because of the pressure's making her think she needs to go to the bathroom, but she doesn't. And I don't want her to have a puppy in the yard. Cashmere, go lay down. Go lay down. Go in your spot. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. She's like, no, you will let me out. All right, I'm gonna let her out real quick, y'all. Give me 1 second. So let's see here. Castillo. You know, you breeding your dogs once a year. That's a personal preference, but you are still risking your dog. If you do the research on it, you will find that you were subjecting your dog to high levels of progesterone, which has a very negative effect on her uterus. So you may feel really awesome about yourself, but the truth is, you really weren't doing your dog any favors. Okay, all right, come on. Let's see here. I remember somebody asked if I was going to breed Blondie. No, I'm not going to breed Blondie. She's just my daughter's dog. I do have one male right now, but I have another male on the way. And hopefully two males on the way, really. Opinion on spaying and neutering. I believe that if you're not going to breed a female, you should spay her. But males, I don't agree with being neutered. Like men, they need their hormones. So I just personally believe that people should just train their dogs instead of feeling like neutering the dog is the best option. Because there's way too many studies now that show that it's really hard on the dogs. She goes to the bathroom a lot because the contractions put pressure on her bladder and it makes them think that they need to go to the bathroom. So currently I'm just breeding Cashmere to Preacher. They create really gorgeous puppies, and I don't know that I will be breeding her to another male, because by the time that my other male is old enough, I think that she'll probably be at a point where I'm not breeding her anymore. Let's see here. How old is Cashmere? She's like 2.5, I guess. No, females do not go through any heat symptoms whenever they are spayed. Okay. I don't use a male for stud until he's had his health testing done. Usually that's around 2 years of age, especially because of OFA. You can do raw feeding every day, yes, but you need to work up to it. So I don't know if rubbing a female's nipples will induce contractions. I don't know that. What are big names? To be honest with you, I really don't put. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. I'll keep my mouth shut about that. Blah. Thank you, Allison. Have a good day. Let's see. How long have I been doing this for? A couple years, about 3 years with this breed, but I was breeding pit bulls before that. So overall, probably over a decade. Yeah, I there's so many dogs in my dog's pedigree because I have so many dogs I wouldn't even be able to tell you. Any news about Cape Fear? Not really. From what I understand, they're just trying to get through it. I've really been busy. I haven't been able to even reach out to people the way that I wish that I could. So I really need to reach out to her. Let's see here. Oh, and just so you know, like some people are mad that I'm not answering their question. The truth is that if it's a question I've already answered before, then there's just, or if it's a question that I don't think I have enough time to answer, then I can't answer it. Do I prefer male or female dogs? If it was just me and I wasn't a breeder, I would totally just have male dogs. I think that male dogs are better suited for women and female dogs are better suited for men. And in my experience, it just works better that way. So, hey there. Hey, Lashana. Lashane? Did I say that right? Probably not. I'm sorry. I say everyone's names wrong. No, Trouble was not my first Cane Corso. Preacher was my first Cane Corso. I've never had a dog named Trouble. I had a dog named Terrible. So, what made me go from pit bulls to Corso? Not wanting to deal with the energy requirements and the, and the just the ever-present, like, I'm the kind of person that likes to go out and do off-leash stuff, and I like to go to dog parks and stuff, and so the thing about a pit bull is that even if you have a really great one, and I did, mine Terrible, he, like I said, died at 9.5 years old. For the longest time, he was so good, just like Preacher. But when he got old enough, when he got to like 6 years old, some bully went off on him, and let me tell you something, he had enough, and he shook that dog up. We were at a dog park. I was so pissed off at that dog. I was so mad. I kept turning around and glaring at him. But he didn't care, man. And so he had just had enough. He's an old man. So, that's the only thing that I don't miss, because my Cane Corso, when they get an attitude, like they'll put a dog on its back, but they don't bite, they don't shake, they don't go in for the kill like that. So when people get mad at me for saying that, but the truth is I've had enough pit bulls that I've seen it enough times to know that it's there and that it's a possibility. Is it all of them? No. But is it enough that you should be aware of it? That yes. So I don't want to have to worry about that anymore. I'm getting old and I don't want to have to. So that's the truth. Let's see here. I don't let my dogs challenge each other. I'll be very clear on that. I do not let my dogs challenge each other. We don't have fighting because I don't ever let it get to that point. So it's my job to see it before it happens and step in. Let's see here. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, I have researched Dr. Karen Becker. Do most breeders require the bar to get spayed or neutered? A lot of breeders do require spay and neuter. However, many of them are starting to realize that it's not better for the long-term health, especially for the males. So many of them are changing their health standards or health guarantees to basically state that the dog has to be neutered no earlier than I think it's 2 years of age usually. Let's see here. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate it. Lewis, I've actually answered that one. I've never had one, but I do think they're super awesome, very cute dogs. Let's see here. Hey, sugar. Hey, sugar. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Holy moly. Wow, thank you. I'm not even going to try to bring that is I will just butcher your name. I'm so sorry. How do you think Velocity would behave in the situation Cashmere's in right now? I love Velocity. Love from India. I honestly think that she would probably do pretty good. She is really a good dog. She's just high energy. So, she's a very, very loving female. If you ever watch her play with, I see. If you ever watch her play with, her favorite is Seneca because they're a lot alike. They both have a real high energy. So if you ever watch them, then you'll kind of see it. She's a good girl, and I think she'll produce really good puppies. So I hope that answered your question. Let's see. Advice on somebody wanting to breed. I have a video on that. I would definitely check that out. Let's see here. Let's see here. Has Tennessee been okay? Yep, she's been fine. She's been fine. Let's see here. So, female pit bull is 6 and first started to show signs of aggression at 1 year, but was raised and still is with her dad. And then we moved and she started to fight my other dog. I just want to fix it. It can be really hard to stop fighting once it's actually become a habit, or once it's established itself. But it can be done. You have to correct it before it actually plays itself out. It's really important that you do that. Let's see here. Our puppies are 1,700 up to 2,500. Depends on the pick and the registration type. Tennessee is closest to Seneca, which is funny considering that Velocity is also really close to Seneca. But you just can't get past the fact that they're so close in age, so they're always playing with each other. So Bull Mastiffs, never had one personally. I've seen them, but um, I've never owned one personally, so I really couldn't speak to it with any kind of authority. No puppies yet, unfortunately, but this is part of the process. So, yes, I'll definitely make sure to post how many puppies we have for sure. Molly, I'm not quite sure yet. It hasn't been that long, so it usually takes a while. No, I'm not really keen on hairless dogs, unfortunately. Cashmere, I would say she's closest to Midnight. Is there a dog breed that shouldn't be allowed around kids? No, but you should never leave your kids unsupervised without any, without an adult there. You don't want to leave them with the dogs. How will Preacher react to the new males? He'll be fine with them. Like everybody, he'll just have to get over it. Yes, I'm very tired. I'm very tired. I'm going to try to sit down with her and also try to read these comments, but I can't guarantee I'll be able to do that, but I want to try. All right. You're a good girl. Ooh. Right. Good girl. Ooh. All right, there we go. Okay, good. Sorry, everybody. All right. Let's see. Yes, you guys are helping me stay up for sure. I want to help her relax some. How much will we go live for? I don't know. I guess we'll just play it by ear. So. swear it's so late. Alright. Let's see. No puppies yet. No pushing yet. So I think she's fine. The only time you want to worry is when there's pushing and there's nothing going on. Right now she's just panting a lot. So, good girl. Oh, thank you very much, Vanessa. I appreciate it. Let me fix this. Okay, so I think it just does this after a while where it just disconnects. There we go. You're a good girl. So I'm feeling her tummy. I can definitely tell that it's not as hard as it was earlier when it seemed to be more painful. Oh yeah. That fly. Alright, let's see here. I cannot believe it's like 5 o'clock. Oh my god. I'm like going delirious over here. Just wanted to make sure she didn't have any kind of discharge to be worried about. One of the things that you want to be careful about is that they don't have a black discharge. So, a black smelly discharge. All right. Okay. Oh my god. You guys, I really do feel like I need to take a nap. I think what I'm going to do is pull a mattress over here and take a little bit of a nap, and then once she actually makes some progress, I'll turn it back on. So yeah, because I'm literally losing my ability to even make sentences. So anyway, yes, I will come back on in a little bit, like I said, as soon as we start making some progress, but I really do think that we're getting close. I just want to get some rest so that when we get there, I'm a little bit better for it. So, sound good? All right.